My stepdaughter died 4 weeks ago and I caught my husband and his ex-wife in our bed. My stepdaughter Becca, 14F, died 4 weeks ago. I've been in her life since she was 7 years old, we were extremely close. My husband Derek, 40M, his ex-wife Sam, 38F, and I, 35F, get along very well. There has never been an issue in the 7 years that I've been with Derek. Sam has always been kind to me, she didn't even care that Becca called me mom too. Right after Becca's passing, Sam had so much anxiety and depression that she was unable to be by herself. She has no family besides us, so we invited her to stay with us. Sam hardly leaves the house, she mostly just sleeps in Becca's room, which is completely understandable. I always tell her that I'm here if she needs me and that I want her to take her time with grieving and that there is no pressure to go back to her home. Today I needed to run some errands, so I asked Sam if she'd like to join me to get out of the house a little bit, but she declined and said she'd rather just stay at the house and sleep. I told Derek that I was leaving and that I would be back in 2-ish hours. He works from home. I also told him to check on Sam every once in a while, and maybe try getting her to eat something. After stopping at the post office, I realized I forgot my library book that I needed to return, so I went back home to get it. As soon as I walked in the door, I heard moaning coming from mine and Derek's bedroom. I immediately knew what was happening, and my heart completely broke in that moment. I wasn't completely sure what to do, but I ended up deciding to confront them, so I walked to the bedroom and opened the door and began yelling at them both. Sam started having an anxiety attack and ran to the bathroom while Derek kept apologizing profusely. I asked him what the hell was happening. He told me that he made himself and Sam some lunch and they began talking about Becca, and shared some memories. And then Sam ended up kissing him and he didn't pull back, and then it ended with them in our bed. They're begging me to understand that it was just grief that caused them to become intimate and that they both made a mistake. I don't know what to do. I love this man. And I love Sam. I'm heartbroken that they did this to me and put me in this position. I feel so stuck. Update. I decided that I'm filing for a divorce. I can't ever trust Derek again. It sucks because we had an amazing relationship, I thought. He's always been great, so this was a complete shock to me. Last night, Derek came over to talk. He confessed to a lot. Turns out it wasn't their first time having sex like most people thought. They've been having sex since 3 months before Becca died. I am completely shocked and heartbroken. Sam also reached out last night and thanked me for everything I've done for her, and told me she was sorry. I didn't respond, I blocked her. I did so much for Sam and considered her a friend, so this hurts a lot, more than I can handle. This is all too much. As hard as this is gonna be, I need to leave Derek and cut them both out of my life. I am ready to do so. I am done. Also, some people are saying I deserve this because I should have known better than to let Sam into our home, around Derek. But, you need to understand that I'm a giving person, I trust people more than I should. I truly thought Sam was an amazing person. I know it's unusual to become friends with your husband's ex-wife, but it's just how it went for us and I shouldn't be blamed for what happened. Thank you to everyone who commented nice things and for the kind messages. You've all been helpful during this insanely difficult time, I appreciate it. Relevant comments. Impulsive thoughts. Out of curiosity, what are his excuses for cheating? Those two are going to be in a world of hurt, once the guilt settles in. They're going to be asking themselves why it had to be Becca and will eventually come to conclusion that it's their punishment for what they've done to you. I can pretty much guarantee you that. He told me that they just accidentally reconnected one night when I was away at my mom's. He was stressed we weren't conceiving and were having miscarriages, so he vented to Sam, and then somehow that led to sex. It seems so icky to me. How can he vent about our struggles like that and then go and have sex with Sam? It's just awful of him. I don't understand it. Update 2. I'm getting lots of questions about some things, so I figured I'd answer a few of them. Have I told anyone about what happened besides my mom? Yes, I told a few friends and some family members. Most of them are supportive of my decision and aren't speaking to Derek. Where is Derek staying? Currently, he's staying at a hotel. Our friends refuse to let him stay with them. He's lost a lot of people due to his awful decisions. Has he tried fighting me on getting a divorce? Yes, he begged me not to file for divorce, but when I told him I needed him to just let me go, and that I was too exhausted to fight him on this, he let it be and agreed to getting a divorce. Why isn't Derek staying with Sam? He told me he didn't want to continue to hurt me, so he told Sam he was done with her for good. And that they have no reason to speak to each other anymore. I have no idea if that'll last and if they'll just end up together, but I truly don't care what they do anymore. I just want peace. What was Derek's excuse for cheating? He told me that they just accidentally reconnected one night when I was away at my mom's. He was stressed we weren't conceiving and were having miscarriages, so he vented to Sam, and then somehow that led to sex. Disgusting of them both, I know. Feel free to ask anything else, and I'll try to answer. Thank you everyone for your support and advice. Updates, May 14, 2024. I just found out that he is staying with Sam and not at the hotel. He told me it's too expensive to stay at a hotel and Sam is the only one that'll help him right now. I had a feeling this would happen. Just knowing that they are still probably sleeping together hurts my heart. I talked to a lawyer this morning and we are proceeding with the divorce and Derek agreed to it. It's actually happening, and I feel some relief that he's not fighting me on this. My mom leaves on Sunday, I'm scared to be alone. But I go back to work on Monday, so I'm hoping it'll be a good distraction. I'll keep updating if anything else happens. Thank you everyone, I am so grateful for you all. May 15, 2024. I decided to go through some of Becca's stuff today. I just found her diary in a box in the back of her closet. Would it be wrong to read some of it? I feel like it would help me feel closer to her, but part of me feels like it's wrong too. I haven't told Derek that I found it either, and I'm unsure if I should tell him. What would you do? Just a little update, May 19, 2024. I figured it's been a few days, so I should give a little update. My mom is leaving in a couple hours, so I'll be alone. I'm kinda nervous about it. She helped me stay distracted and kept me going, how I'm gonna handle her being gone. I go back to work tomorrow, first day back since Becca passed away. I'm looking forward to it though because it'll keep me distracted. Also, I did read some of Becca's diary. It made me love her even more, she was such a sweetheart. I went back a few months and saw that she noticed some weird behavior between Derek and Sam, didn't mention that she knew of the affair, but she just wrote that she thought it was kinda strange that they all three would hang out more than usual. Without me. I might read more, but so far I haven't found anything that's disturbing, just her being a teenager and talking about crushes, fights with friends, happy family memories etc. Tomorrow I'm also talking to my lawyer, so I might have more updates on that. Thanks for the continuous love and support everyone. Last update for a while. May 26, 2024. Started randomly getting a lot more messages, so I figured I'd do another little last update. My first week back at work went great. I wasn't expecting it to go so well, but thankfully it did. My co-workers were so helpful and patient with me. On Friday night I decided I didn't want to stay home all weekend alone, so I decided to drive up to my mom's. It helps I have a 3-day weekend so I can spend more time with her. I'm heading back home tomorrow. Also, for those of you that have messaged me hateful things for reading Becca's diary, I just have to say, you aren't in my shoes right now. Telling me I'm a bad mom because I'm reading her diary is just ridiculous. I learned so much more about her, about how caring and sweet she is, and it made me love her even more. It's how I'm able to feel so close to her right now, so please don't tell me I'm a bad parent for just trying to get by one of the hardest times of my life. You have no idea what it's like. I don't have much of an update, so this will be it. I'll come back and update once the divorce happens though. Thank you to those of you that have been nothing but kind and helpful, you helped me feel less alone, I'll forever be grateful. Sam saw my Reddit post and is threatening to sue me, June 1, 2024. Sam made a fake FB profile to message me and tell me she wants to sue me for telling strangers about what happened. Derek supports her apparently. I don't need this. Am I not allowed to vent about my life to people online? I just want life to get better. I'm so tired. Fuck you Sam. Fuck you Derek. Edit, Sam is in the comments and messaged me on here too. Blocked her. I don't think I can do this anymore. I have been as strong as I can be, but I have been really struggling. So much is going on and I'm just so tired. How can I keep going? I just want to be with Becca, I miss her. I miss her smile, I miss her laugh, I miss how she tried to make you laugh when you were sad by telling dad jokes, I miss how she liked being in the garden with me, I miss seeing all her new drawings, I miss her beautiful eyes. I miss everything about her. I just want her back. I need her back. Edit, I am okay. I just needed a space to vent. I was getting so many messages asking if I'm alright, and I just wanted to say thank you to those that reached out. I am okay, I will be okay. Some days are harder than others, but I think I'll get through this. I'm so grateful for the little community I have here, thank you all so much. Sam took her life on June 20th, 2024, July 4th, 2024. Sam ended up taking her own life on June 20th. I am still trying to process everything. She had hurt me deeply, but this isn't something I wanted whatsoever. And Derek blames me. I feel so many things and am gonna be away for a while again, but I wanted to update you all. Well, I'm doing it, I'm taking the advice that so many of you had, I'm going on a trip since my job doesn't need me till the middle of August. I was so lucky I had my mom come stay with me a lot, and had my best friend come stay with me when my mom couldn't. But I felt like I was asking too much of them. So I decided that maybe traveling might actually be a good idea. In a week, I'm going to Norway. Becca and I always wanted to go there one day, it was on our bucket list. I'm actually excited. I'm also thinking of getting a pet when I come back. But might wait till I move. You probably won't hear from me for a while, I'm taking a long break from Reddit and all my social media. I think it's best for me. But just know, I love and appreciate all of you that have been there for me, I would have been so lost without some of you. Yours truly, Alyssa. Editor's note, the latest new update is over a month old. A few updates. Hi everyone. I haven't been on here in so long, I got so many messages asking me to do an update, so here it is, smiley face. Norway was absolutely breathtaking. I had so much fun and met some amazing people while I was there. I plan on returning in the future for sure. A couple weeks ago was the 6-month anniversary of Becca's death. It's been hard, but it's getting easier to live everyday life, but it also pains me to say that, because I feel guilty for moving on and healing. If that makes sense, maybe it does to those who have also lost someone close. I moved out of Derek and my house a month ago and got myself a cozy little house all to myself, and oh yeah, I got a dog. His name is Charlie and he's a darling little Cavalier Spaniel, he's been great. I absolutely love him. Also, I am officially divorced as of last week. It was a very easy divorce and I'm so happy about that. But Derek didn't want any of Becca's things when we tried figuring out who gets what, he left it all to me. I tried hard to get him to take something because I feel like he'll regret it, but he said he didn't want anything, so I have all of Becca's stuff. I have no idea why he didn't want anything, but I have it all in the guest bedroom right now. I'm trying to figure out what to do with everything. Derek is apparently an alcoholic now and quit his job. He seems to be doing terrible. Besides all that, if I have anything else to share. I just want to say thank you again to all of my supporters, I've made some friends on here and I am so thankful for you all. I appreciate every one of you. Stories number 2. I, 26F, crushed my mother's, 55F, heart, how can I fix this? Hello everyone. I don't know if anyone will remember my post from back in May, but I have some updates in case anyone would like to read. See. First of all, I'm completely NC with my mom. During July-November I was actually in decent terms with her, however, we never really talked about her kicking me out, my fault as well, as I thought it would be better not to address it. But the final straw was recently, when I moved in with my boyfriend, yay. And I needed my bed and bed frame, which I paid for specifically to take them back when I needed them. This was a huge deal to my mother because I think she realized that I was serious when I said I would never go back to living with her. She accused me of being selfish, of being exactly like my father and all that hurtful stuff. Even when I communicated that what she was telling me was hurtful, she kept pushing and pushing until I blew up. I wrote a letter telling her exactly why I refused to contact her anymore and sent it to her and the rest of my family, so that she couldn't spin the narrative into me being a bad daughter. The result of that is that now I don't really speak with my aunt, my mom's sister, and my cousin, which really hurt for a while because I thought they actually cared about my well-being, but it is what it is and I'm done feeling guilty and apologizing for having normal emotions. After some therapy I realized that I do deserve an apology and to be treated and respected like an adult. She has tried to reach out to me with offering food or asking me about art stuff, but I'm very cold towards her and usually don't respond. If it's not an apology, I don't have anything to talk about. It still hurts like hell not having her around, but I cannot keep romanticizing an idea of a mother that she doesn't want to be. So yeah, as for other life updates, I live with my boyfriend now in an apartment and everyone has told me that I look way happier now. His family has accepted me, they even helped us move into our apartment and invite me to every family function, so that is really appreciated. Also, I got accepted into a master's program in Germany. I worked so hard to get accepted and can't really believe I'm actually going there next winter. I still cry while rereading my original post and about the fact that my mom can't really bring herself to be a part of my life, but now I'm just focused on my mental health, my career objectives and the people that actually wish me happiness in this life. Thank you so much to Mark and everyone that commented on my previous posts, even in the video XD everyone really helped me feel empowered and realized that I do deserve better and that my boundaries are more than reasonable. I'm so excited for what comes next. Stories number 3. Coworker actually told me how to budget for boss's Christmas gifts when I finally told her I will have a strict budget from now on. Every year the contribution for boss's Christmas gifts has increased. Coworker tried to get $50 out of myself and my other coworker this year, there's only 3 of us. My other coworker obliged. I refused. Today I told her what I've been needing to say for too long. I told her no more than $20 from now on. She fought it at first. I feel bad because she spends like $300 on each of us. Side note, if she feels bad that's 100% on her. I'm not contributing my hard-earned money to ease her guilt. Well, she's also gets paid a lot more than us. At least way more than me. But she spends so much. And honestly, I'd rather her not. But that's her choice. Well, you should come up with a way to budget for it. Even if it's just $5, here, $5 there. Did she hear herself? Asking me to budget for the boss's freaking gifts. I budget for necessities. This is far from a necessity. My own budgeting is my business. And how dare her give me financial advice for something like this? I know the look on my face told her all she needed to know. She finally said we'll just each get her something on our own. Thank you. That's perfect. I don't want to hear another word about a contribution to the boss's gift ever again. Edit, I also told her that we're not supposed to be gifting up anyway. I told her to look it up herself. She reiterated again how much boss spends on us. But I didn't budge on it. I don't care what she spends. That's her business, her choice. Stories number 4. To fool by knocking on my girlfriend's door. My GF lives in my apartment complex and I met her one day in September while I was out walking my dog. We ended up going on a date that same night and pretty much instantly hit it off and started hanging out with each other almost every day. We would spend whole days together on weekends and we did so many fun things together. I really enjoyed her company and started falling for her. My girlfriend warned me in November that from mid-month to December 15th she would be unavailable. I thought that meant that I wouldn't be able to see her that often. I didn't know that it meant communication from her would become almost non-existent. She stopped texting me the usual "I miss you" or saying "goodnight handsome." It started going longer between texts. After a half week of this I talked with her and asked if she was okay, and if we were okay. She explained that we were okay but she was just incredibly busy and all she really has capacity for is work and sleep, and maybe stopping to eat. But she apologized for making me feel anxious and said she would try. Well, time went on and it got to be 2 weeks since we had spent any time together. I had gotten to see her a few times for maybe 5 minutes in passing. Then my texts and calls started going unanswered. She had told me the last time we were able to speak on the phone that if I ended up getting off early enough on the following Saturday that I could come over for a bit and we could hang out. I called her that night and it rang to voicemail. I walked my dog when I got home and when I walked by her apartment I saw that all of her lights were off. So when I got home I texted that it looked like she passed out and I hope she got some good sleep. I didn't hear back for 3 full days. It didn't look to me like her car ever moved out of her driveway. I never saw lights on passing by her house. I started to get worried about her because I know she struggles with certain health issues, is super stressed and hates her job. It seems like she suffers from symptoms of depression. So I texted her just saying I wanted to check in on her and it makes me feel worried when I don't hear back for this long from her. I still didn't hear anything that day. By the following day I was extremely worried about her. I couldn't think about anything else. I reached out to her best friend and asked and the last time that she had heard from her was. She told me it was the prior week. I expressed my worry and said I wanted to give her space but that I was getting worried and I was thinking about going to check on her. Her friend told me that 4 days is plenty of space and that I should go check on her. I went home on my lunch break, and I walked over to her house. My anxiety was in my throat. It was still dark in her house from what I could see. Her blinds were all closed. I knocked on the front door. No answer. I rang the doorbell. No answer. I knocked again a bit harder. No answer. I rang the doorbell again. No answer. I knocked hard enough that I felt like she would be able to hear it from the bedroom. No answer. I had my phone out with her text message up and I start seeing the typing bubble. I am on a fucking client call, stop knocking. I immediately left. I sent a text message saying sorry, I was just really worried about her. I thought more and added a little later on that I realized I went overboard with the knocking and I was really sorry. It went another full day and I didn't hear back. I talked to my father, who said it doesn't seem like she is communicating, treating you very well. I told him I just wanted to talk to her and I had half a mind to go knock on her door now, at night, just to talk with her and let her know what is going on in my mind. But I was worried about looking crazy or ruining things further. He asked me how much would change from how things have been going, at least if I did this and I could talk with her I would have an answer. So I wrote a text telling her I was gonna stop by for in 5 minutes to just chat for a bit, and that was really important that we talked. I went over and rang her doorbell. No answer. So I went home and wrote a text telling her how much I liked her, and how this whole situation was making me feel. How I was feeling like I was being ignored and being treated less than. How I needed some communication. How a single text every once in a while would go such a long way. I told her this wasn't a "you need to call me tonight or it's over," but I said I needed to hear from her. I woke up the following morning to see she had sent me a long text around 4 a.m. telling me how busy she has been, which I knew. How she has barely had capacity to even get to her desk. That she has been working 14-hour days and just crashing. Telling me that she'd already told me she would be unavailable. She said coming to her door while she was working and banging on it was incredibly uncalled for. She said her car had clearly been moved. She said that me doing that while I knew she would be unavailable, and she was at work, she works from home, during work hours, is a hard line for her. I didn't know that unavailable meant zero contact or being able to see her at all. But regardless, in one fell swoop I ended my relationship with someone I cared about deeply. All because I couldn't get a grip on my anxiety and be patient. TLDR got worried about my GF after not hearing from her for days after she told me she would be unavailable. Went to her house and knocked hard on her door when she happened to be on a call. Crossed a hard line for her and now I am 99% sure I don't have a girlfriend anymore. Comments. She's not for you. Move along. I don't get this shit. I don't care how busy someone is. If they can't take 30 seconds to be like "I'm sorry, I'm swamped. Talk later." Then you're nowhere on their list of priorities. No man, you didn't lose anything. She ghosted you. She left you and didn't want to make it official. Unavailable does not mean disappear into the void, it means I won't have time for dinner or hanging out. If she couldn't carve out 5 minutes here and there to even say "oh man, that was a rough day, I can't wait till busy time is over and we can hang out again," then she's not making any effort and it was never a good relationship. Be sad, talk to friends and family, feel better and move on. You deserve better out of a partner. Good luck. TIFF update by knocking on my girlfriend's door. My last post kinda blew up, so I figured some people might appreciate an update. I mentioned at the end of my OP that she had sent me a long text the following morning telling me how much I had fucked up and crossed a hard line. I did respond to that text with apology, saying that I did let my anxiety control me, and that I wanted to work on things. That I was going into therapy to work on my own issues. She didn't explicitly say that we were over, so I asked her for clarification on where we stood, if she was done. I said, outside of that, I would not contact her until I heard back from her. As of today it has been 12 days, she has not responded to me at all. The last 12 days have been horrible for my mental well-being. I decided yesterday to just move on and give myself my own closure. I realized a lot of important things through this experience. I realized that I didn't do anything wrong. Unavailable does not mean you disappear and drop off the earth for days at a time, ignoring the outside world. I did nothing wrong by going to check on her. I did what I did out of love, caring, and worry. I did what I would hope a partner would do for me. No one is too busy to text a single time in 4 days. I realize that I need to take care of myself and assert my own boundaries. I learned some important needs expectations I have of relationships. I learned about my own codependent and anxious tendencies that I need to work on. I realized there were a lot of red flags about this woman that I was ignoring. I have taken up meditation, journaling, daily practice of gratitude. I have gotten into therapy, and back into the gym. I have talked with her best friend again, who hasn't heard from her in about as long as I have. The silence isn't personal to just me, which did make me feel a little better at one point. However now, I am still upset. I am mad at the way I have been treated throughout this whole process. I know this is an extremely busy time for her, and I know she is struggling, but I still have needs and she decided to be my girlfriend. Needs that she is apparently, for any reason, incapable of meeting. Leaving someone who loves and cares about you in the dark for 12 days, when you live a 3-minute walk from each other is unkind at best. I still don't know what is going on in her head, and I don't know if I ever will. I would still be open to talking with her, and hearing her out. I am extremely unlikely to take her back though. I deserve better. I think my biggest realization is that I can give myself closure, I can detach and take care of myself, and still love her and others around me. I wish I could snap my fingers and be over her, but I know it is going to take a little bit. Thank you for all the assurance, kind words, and those who reached out to support. TLDR, she still hasn't talked to me after 12 days. I am moving on. I learned a lot about myself and what I need through this. I wouldn't take her back at this point. For what it's worth from a stranger on the internet, good for you. Experiences like this can give us opportunities to grow, or they can leave us bitter. I'm glad you chose the former. Link. I had a similar experience, no knocking but will be busy, single mom self-made at-home food prep business type beat, sort of stuff for whole weeks to spend the whole weekend worrying if we'll do something or we'll be too tired busy to even get to do shit. She also started off being really intense as well, so she kinda left me as a hanger-on after she started doing that shit. Eventually I texted her to give me my stuff back and I'll drop out from her life. Your post helped me realize this is more common than previously thought. Stories number 5. Am I the asshole for refusing to call me friend by her new name, Queen? A friend, 25F, socially changed her name from the name her mom gave her, to a name she chose for herself. She is cisgender, BTW. Her name change is due to her wanting to reinvent herself. And her new name, Queen, reflects how she thinks of herself and how she wants others to see her. Her social media usernames and profiles reflect her new name, and people she's met in the past few years call her by the name she's introduced herself as. I'd be glad to support her in the autonomy she seeks by naming herself. But my issue is that she wants everyone to call her Queen. Within the friend group I notice that sometimes her old friends slip up and call her by her given name. But you can see that it doesn't sit well with her, and that being dead named bothers her. Sometimes she'll politely correct, but not within larger groups. Sometimes her friends self-correct and call her Queen. Since Queen and King are used as terms of praise, reverence, and endearment, I am very hesitant to call this person Queen. I simply don't feel that way about her. It just doesn't feel like a name to me. It feels more like a title. I don't feel right calling my peer Queen. If she were to change her name to a name that means Queen, like Reina, I wouldn't experience any unease with calling her such. I avoid using any name to refer to her. If I do use a name, I try to say Queen, but if I'm not in a good mood or if I'm annoyed with her, I don't bring myself to say it. I asked if I can call her Q and she said no, my name is Queen. Perhaps I would feel differently if it were a stage name. Perhaps I would feel differently if she weren't also a little self-centered. Stories number 6. I intentionally got my coworker, who has autism, fired. So I work in the IT department for company, and I have had a coworker with autism named X. A bit of background, X was a very good worker. He got all of his projects done on time and the quality was amazing. Sure, he wasn't the fastest coder, but he wasn't the slowest at coding either, he was consistently a top performer. However, he did not have very good social skills. He would always share the code with us and work with the rest of us on projects. But, when we had meetings to discuss problems with our projects, X would never bring up any of his errors, he would only assist with ours. This made him look like some whiz, and the managers loved him. But he can't be 100% perfect, right? He also refused to go on any outings with us. Whenever we'd want to watch a game together, go to the bar, or even go out for lunch, X would always back out. For some reason, I got very annoyed at this. I kept thinking, and soon believing, that he felt like he had better things to do than spend time with his coworkers. He only did work, he would not do anything social with us, and he rarely brought up his work problems. I know, this is really stupid. But in my mind, I hated how he refused to communicate with us. Eventually, I grew to really hate X. So I hatched a plan. I sit in the desk right behind X, so it was easy for me to swing around and access his computer. It's a pretty secluded area, so I was easy to be stealthy as well. When I started, I just did small things. As soon as X went to the bathroom or to get something from the vending machine, I would go in and modify his code slightly so that it wouldn't run properly. I'd add a letter or delete a letter so it would be a pretty tedious fix. I don't think X suspected any foul play though, he never mentioned it to anyone. When he'd try to run his final project, it would go haywire and he'd spend a lot of time going back to find his mistake. He was really persistent at solving his own problems, himself. Eventually, I think management stared to notice a decrease in his work and they pulled him aside for a quick meeting. When he returned, he did not look happy, but he did not say anything to any of us. He just sat down and got to work. I tried to ask about the impromptu meeting the managers just had with him, but he just brushed it off. He'd go, "Oh, it was nothing, just more information about the project." Again, I don't know why, but I really despised him for that. A couple of weeks go by, and I continue to slightly harm his code. Then I got a brilliant idea that would reveal he is capable of error to everyone. He had just gotten assigned to a special project and I couldn't resist myself. I waited for a time when he went away from his desk, and I opened his email portal. I sent an altered and incomplete file to the next development team for the final assembly. I then deleted the sent mail from his box and went on with my day. Honestly, I wasn't too familiar with the specifics of what he was working on, but apparently the stuff I altered did some major damage. When the other team tried to run their finished product, it kept crashing and showing numerous errors. This caused some major delays, and when they finally tracked it down to X's code, management was not happy at all. X was given a week and a half to write and prefect his portion, and I sent out the file on day 5. Management came over to our desk area, and X was very confused. They kept asking X why he sent it out so early and why he didn't check anything over. I heard it all, but I just kept my mouth shut and listened in on their conversation. I assumed he'd just get a slap on the wrist, but apparently they decided that his work quality was continuing to fall below standards and that they needed to let him go. Company would not be allowing so many errors. X didn't even get a chance to voice his opinions, management was so unhappy and terminated him immediately. I could have turned around and told them everything, but I couldn't. I didn't have the courage. I feared that I might lose my job. I know I did a really terrible thing to X, but I couldn't afford to lose my job. I feel terrible. And to add on to it, I later learned that X is autistic. I didn't even know. Apparently he was just really antisocial. He probably didn't harbor any negative thoughts about the rest of us. It was just that social interaction wasn't something he enjoyed. I'm sure he made mistakes, but he was just such a hard worker that he didn't show it at all. He would want to solve problems himself instead of immediately seeking for help like the rest of us. It's too late now, but I really appreciate X and I hate myself so much for causing this. I had an urge to get this off of my chest, but even after typing all of this, I still feel so guilty. I keep thinking about all of the harm I caused X. I might have ruined his life. I didn't want that. I'm thinking of coming clean to management this week. X deserves the job more than anyone else. It's been less than a week since he got fired, they can still take him back if he's willing to come back, right? Thanks for listening to my story, I guess. TLDR, I was an idiot and messed with my coworker's code. Management got mad at his errors and fired him. Guilt stays with you forever. Update. Recap, I messed with my coworker's work and he got fired. I felt a lot of guilt. Anyways, I went into work today and I had a long meeting with the management. I explained everything that happened and all of the bad things that I did. I told them everything. How I changed X's code and emailed a bad file to the other development team. I also begged them to give X his job back. I told them that X really does have a high standard of excellence. I explained how even though X may face a problem, he would work harder by himself to get it right. He is so much more determined and driven than anyone else at the office. Well, they listened to my story and gave X a call. I don't know how badly X was affected by this ordeal, but he was very glad to be invited back. Apparently management didn't truly understand how great of a worker X was either. After I told them about how determined X is, and after getting testimonials from other co-workers, management decided to raise X's salary. When he came in, I had apologized immensely to him and I tried to express how bad I felt. I knew that no apology could repair the damage I did, but I just wanted him to know I was sorry. He might really hate me inside, but he did not show it at all. He ended up forgiving me. I know, I didn't deserve to be forgiven, but this just makes me respect X even more. What I did was terrible and I got what I deserved. I was terminated today, effective immediately. I don't know what I will do now that I am jobless, but at least I have a somewhat cleared conscience, knowing that X is back doing what he is so good at. Hate all you want, but I think I amended some of the damage. TLDR told management about what I did and apologized to X. X got his job back with a raise. I got fired. Stories number 7. Am I the asshole here for refusing to let my finances X give a speech at our wedding? My fiancé was dating Katie for years, then they broke it off. She still comes around since she's close to his family. By how much time they had spent together, Katie seems to know my fiancé really well. That didn't bother me at first, but it became an issue when she asked that I let her give a speech sometime the wedding since she knows him well, and wanted to tell few funny stories about him. I felt extremely uncomfortable and told her I was sorry, but I didn't think it was appropriate for her to do that. My family got involved and started lecturing me saying I need to stop being negative and claimed I was making this about me, but that's my wedding. My fiancé is choosing to stay out of it, but the pressure is on me now. I'm being called oversensitive and needed to losses up as this could be a good opportunity to add more laughter and joy to the event, but to be completely honest on here, I don't want his ex to take any part in our wedding, even if she's a friend of the family and they'd known her since she was a teenager. Stories number 8. Coworker gave me excuses for a bad Secret Santa gift for me but bought out our boss's lists, stupid vent. I just needed to get this off my chest. We did Secret Santa on Monday with a minimum of $30 and I got Christmas candy, when on our list we could specify what we didn't want and I said anything edible, and a work shirt, which obviously I don't want and I'm pretty sure she won through a raffle. This was obviously impersonal and I guess some of my other coworkers talked to the coworker who gave me this because the next day she came in buying a $8 lotion I had asked on my list and apologized. Wasting my time telling me about how she's a little low on money and everything she did on the weekend and why she was too busy to get me what I had asked for. I honestly didn't care that much, had low expectations for work Secret Santa as a whole, so I just told her that I understood and it was nice of her to get me the lotion. This is a coworker I have to help a lot, so I want us to be on good terms. This same day, I saw her put Christmas gift bags on our supervisor, manager, and director's desk. I didn't think anything of it, but my supervisor wasn't in until today and I had gone to talk to my supervisor when she opened her gift and my coworker had bought out everything. She listed on her Secret Santa list minus whatever her Secret Santa actually got her. This at least hit $100. I don't know exactly what she got our other two bosses, but I heard them talking to our supervisor and saying she got them great stuff too. It's just crazy to me that she couldn't do this for her Secret Santa, and I'm someone who helps her a lot, but did this for our bosses who always overwork her. Stories number 9. Obsessed teenager won't leave my girlfriend alone. Me and my girlfriend, both 25, have been dealing with this individual for nearly a year. A year ago, my girlfriend was trying to find a good username for all of her socials that fit her personality and brand, since she's somewhat of an influencer. Once she began changing all of her socials to that new name, she noticed that it was taken on Instagram. Not really caring, she still used the username and just altered it with an extra character. For obvious reasons, I have no intention on sharing actual usernames or names here. Anyways, a few weeks go by and the person with the username my girlfriend wanted on Instagram starts messaging her. For the sake of explaining, we'll call her Jane, like Jane Doe. Jane's Instagram account has nothing on it, but somehow has 15K followers. Jane messaged my girlfriend and asked to buy the username from her on other platforms, specifically Discord. My girlfriend of course turned her down politely, but instead of taking no for an answer, Jane decided to blow it completely out of proportion. Over the past year, she's sent people to message us, spammed us on anything she could find us on, and now today we've learned from someone who knew Jane that she's been impersonating the two of us, trying to deface us, I guess. I don't even know where to go from here or what to do. We've blocked her on everything and have blocked so many people she's sent after us, it's insane. At the time of her messaging us the first time, she confirmed she was 19. She's likely 20 by now, but that doesn't really matter. Is this considered harassment? How can I or my girlfriend do anything to stop this crazy chick from coming after us over a username? Can anything legal even be done since we don't know anything about since it's all online? What do we do going forward? It's starting to get old and incredibly irritating. My girlfriend has gotten to the point of being paranoid that her phone or her accounts are going to be hacked. Jane offered $100 for the username, so if she's willing to drop $100 on something as trivial as that, there's no telling what she might do otherwise. Any advice is helpful. Edit: I need to make some things clear because some people commenting aren't using their brains before they do so or are just being rude in general. My girlfriend is somewhat of an influencer. She's not the next super famous influencer, but she is one nonetheless. She has a couple thousand followers across her socials and is well known amongst her community. No, influencing isn't her job. It's something she loves to do. Why don't you just block people and move on? You can restrict who can send you messages. Yes, I'm aware. Given that she's an influencer and wants to be involved in her community, doing so would go against what she's trying to do with her brand, if you want to call it that. I myself have a pretty large Discord server that I run, so refusing messages from anyone and everyone isn't an option for me. My girlfriend has no intention on changing her username. She's set on it, she loves it, and even if I wanted to I couldn't convince her to do so. I'm not trying to sound like an ass, but some of the comments are just so incredibly dense it's insane. But, this is Reddit, so I should expect the occasional dud. Thank you to those of you who have left helpful advice and comments. It's put my girlfriend's mind at ease, at least a little bit. Stories number 10. Father of the bride berated the bride during the wedding, because it's her second marriage. Family drama. Mysael Vicky, 30 plus, married last year for the second time and my parents-in-law didn't approve her second marriage. Just because it was her second marriage and they felt ashamed about it. Vicky divorced her first husband 6 years ago and they have one child together. The first husband was abusive and an alcoholic, also a deadbeat dad. 2 years after the divorce she started dating Nick and he was and is really good to her and her first child. He stepped up and was like a father to her child Leo. Leo loves Nick and Nick adores Leo. Now they're living together for nearly 3 years and are happy. We were happy to receive the save the date notification before the wedding invitation. Story. But the family drama started then. My parents-in-law were supportive of her new relationship, that changed as the wedding talk started. They didn't want to do anything for the wedding, despite Vicky wanting to have a father-daughter dance and them to deliver a speech. Vicky also wanted her stepmother to go shopping for a wedding dress. Despite saying how much it would mean to her, Mysael was declined. Logically my parents-in-law didn't pay for anything during the wedding. Vicky was disappointed but wanted to make her wedding a happy day and didn't ask her parents for help any longer. My parents-in-law didn't want to get to know the family of Nick or participate in any other activities before the wedding day. Now comes the wedding day. Mysael is dressed like every day with sneakers. Classy move. I had seen him be more dressed up going to work. My younger Bael is wearing matching clothes. Both Mil Martha and Fil Samuel are really passive during the ceremony and celebration and don't really talk to others, only their own children and grandchildren. Fil doesn't miss any moment to make sneaky comments and is obviously trying to seem laid back. He said how happy he is not to pay for the wedding. He also didn't pay for Vicky's first wedding. Background: he feels it's the obligation of the bride's parents to pay for wedding. He said it to me before we even asked for money for our own wedding, what we never did. Samuel never played for any wedding of his children. He said really loud at the bride entrance that she shouldn't wear white, because it's her second wedding. Later at the location he only said how funny it is that's her second wedding. That she shouldn't have a ceremony at all and only go to the town hall and get a marriage certificate. He didn't want to babysit Leo, so my parents-in-law ignored their grandchild. Leo is a special needs child, so we and the maid of honor tried to take care of Leo. We hoped that Vicky and Nick could enjoy their wedding more like that. Samuel didn't stop at all to complain about everything during the wedding reception. Nothing was good enough, and every few sentences later he said how absurd it is, that Vicky is getting married again. I had the unpleasant pleasure to sit across from him. The bad-mouthing didn't stop at all. Fil Samuel and Mil Martha didn't congratulate the newlyweds. I didn't understand why they would attend at all. They were also the first to go and said loud that they're happy being able to finally leave. Vicky was really heartbroken and Nick tried to cheer her up. We all tried to make the wedding more enjoyable for the newlyweds and to ignore my parents-in-law. The irony and hypocrisy. My FIL is married to his affair partner Martha. He married twice and berated Vicky for marrying twice. My MIL, the affair partner and the stepmother of most of Samuel's children, was wearing white during her own first wedding. Also, the affair happened during the time in which Vicky's mother was pregnant with Vicky. FIL married twice and berated his own daughter during her wedding for marrying twice. Edit, full fake names for easier reading. Edit 2, why I didn't call my FIL out was because my SIL said to me before the wedding that I shouldn't interfere with her parents. She even sided with them as I confronted them because SIL was mistreated. The siblings are used to this kind of behavior and view it as normal. So much drama and trauma in their childhood. Now I only call my in-laws out if it's about my kids or myself. We're very low contact with my in-laws. Stories number 11. What happens when one old Karen meets another old Karen? Here's a story about two old ladies who were visiting the physiotherapist department of our hospital. NHS in the UK. Lots of background information as she's been coming for years, complaining about one thing or another and is well known, nice lady when she gets what she wants but prone to having a meltdown now and again, kind of person that rules don't apply to, wants a cup of tea, with the nurses when they get one. And gets upset when she can't wait in the office rather than the waiting room. So I will call her, first old lady, FOL, in her 80s, about 4 feet 6 inches, walking with a cane, has at some point in the last couple of years fallen over and hurt her knee, was told to rest for a few weeks to let it heal, has distinct nurse, home help, meals on wheels etc. to help her, but refuses to rest as she is an extremely independent woman. As she keeps walking every day to the shops etc., won't use Uber as it's too expensive, her knee doesn't heal and gets worse, she compensates for the pain by walking with more of her weight on her other leg and using a cane. Because of this she is in a great deal of pain in her hip, yet completely refuses to use a wheelchair. Son bought her a mobility scooter, but she refuses to use it. As you can see from the story so far, your doctor knows a lot about you, so be nice. FOL gets a pain injection in her hip, which is getting to a point where it wants replacing, but as she is refusing surgery, or any of the other stuff on offer, wheelchair, mobility scooter. So we are fighting a losing battle there, but somehow she's got someone to agree to give her pain injections even though it's not a good solution. Which brings us to this morning. 3 weeks ago she had an injection and is back for another one even though she doesn't have an appointment, and isn't due for another injection for at least 3 months if not longer, but she is adamant that she is going to get one, and won't leave the reception area till she gets one. Nurse comes to talk to her. To move her to the side of reception so that the receptionist can see other patients. This kind of works, but then FOL realizes that she isn't causing enough of a problem to get what she wants, so inserts herself back in front of reception, just as old lady number 2 is about to be served. I will call her second old lady, SOL, aged about 70 and about 5 feet. SOL isn't very happy about being moved out of the way and is probably also a bit wound up because of what she heard FOL saying to the nurse, so starts to prod FOL with her finger telling her to shift, as it's SOL's turn. FOL then proceeds to prod SOL with her cane. Husband of SOL grabs the cane, then about 5 nurses have to intervene and split them up. All in a day's work at an NHS hospital. Stories number 12. My kids no longer want to spend as much time with me anymore. I feel lost. Any tips? My boys have grown up. Playing with daddy isn't their favorite thing to do now. We still have a great relationship, but now girls and their mates are their priority. I just feel a bit lost. Every weekend, we would go hiking, camping, playing sports. Now they want to go to the town with their friends or girlfriend now. They still say they want to do stuff, but it's less often now. And I'm just lost and feel like I don't really have a purpose anymore. Would appreciate any tips from other dads who have been in this situation. Edit. Wow, this is more popular than I thought. I had my firstborn at 15. To be honest, my hobbies pre-child was shit talking on Call of Duty, smoking weed and trying to be edgy, so not really something I fancy now, huh? Edit 2. Thanks everyone, not dated in a while so the suggestions of spending time with the mum isn't an option. Going to start traveling hiking by myself and explore the perils of dating for the first time in a long time. Stories number 13. Am I the asshole for abandoning my former roommate and not paying her share of the debt? I, 29 NB, was renting an apartment with my friend Jess, 33F, from October 2023 to October 2024. We had been very excited to move in together and really enjoyed living together for the first few months. Over those first few months, I was introduced to a friend of Jess, Ash, 28 NB. Jess told us that she really liked our friendship and she encouraged us to date, stating that we would be a cute couple. In March 2024 I double-checked with Jess that it was okay and I began going on dates with Ash. However, almost immediately it became a problem for Jess. No matter how much Ash and I prioritized spending time with Jess one-on-one, giving her undivided attention, spending time as a group, and always making sure we planned the time Ash would be over at the apartment to suit Jess, it created a huge rift in our friendship. Jess is diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, so Ash and I went to great lengths to listen to Jess' therapist and follow their advice to make it as easy for Jess as possible. It didn't help. Jess became extremely depressed and unpredictable and I had to interfere and monitor her often. Any time Ash came over, even though it was agreed upon, Jess would have meltdowns and scream at us and slam the door or leave in a dramatic way. She was even hallucinating and would yell at us in the middle of the night accusing us of being too loud, red spicy time, even if we were literally asleep or just watching TV. This left me feeling unsafe, uncomfortable in my apartment. In June, I started spending more and more time at my parents' or at Ash's house. Especially on days I didn't work. I still tried to keep in touch with Jess and go see her often and I never tried to shame her or blame her for any of this. I understand that her trauma and mental health are not her fault. I am also disabled, which Jess knew before we moved in together. I had a job that was very good for me and extremely consistent. However, in August I had an incident related to my disability which left me in the hospital for 3 weeks and afterwards my doctors told me I am no longer able to work at all. So I ended my employment and applied for state and federal disability income. I used my savings to pay rent in July and August but I had no income until the disability cleared after that. I told Jess in July that I would not be coming back to the apartment except to move out my things. That I would do my best to pay my rent in September and October but if it ended up that I couldn't that I would accept responsibility for the debt when our lease ended. I also know enough about our local laws to know she couldn't be evicted before our lease ended even if I didn't pay because of the amount of time. I kept in touch and gave her updates about my health and the status of my disability income throughout this time to keep her in the loop and make sure she had all the information I had. I told her in August I would not renew the lease and in September I gave my intent to vacate to the apartment, 2 weeks before it was due. Jess decided to not vacate and instead tried to find a new roommate for a new lease in the same unit. However, Jess was unable to find a roommate and ended up having to vacate anyway, without having given proper notice. I was unable to pay for both those months, my state benefits didn't start until NOV and I'm still waiting for federal benefits, so when our lease ended I went to sign a contract with the apartment relieving Jess from the debt. But I found out the debt was much higher than what I owed. I should have owed $2,400 and the office said the debt was closer $3,600. The apartment printed a ledger of our payment history showing that Jess never paid her rent in October. Additionally, the apartment informed me that because we both didn't give notice on time that they will be doubling our debt. They said their lawyers have all the paperwork now and I can discuss it with the lawyers once they contact me, until then there's nothing else I can do. They even think the lawyers can undo the doubled fee because of my disability status but I have to wait until the lawyers reach out to me to know for sure. So, I asked Jess to meet me because I'm not willing to pay her unpaid rent, nor am I willing to pay the entirety of the doubled debt because she is the one who didn't turn in notice. I told her I would work to get the doubled fee cancelled but we needed to agree on the debt owed by each of us, and I told her if they still double it that I would work with her so she doesn't get stuck with a huge bill, but that I shouldn't be responsible for the whole thing either. When we met, Jess told me that I abandoned her and I wasn't taking responsibility for anything and that I should pay the entire bill because it's my fault. I told her I felt responsible for my debt only and that I gave her ample communication throughout these situations. Now she's telling me that I screwed her over and that I'm a bad person. I admit, I lost my temper and said things I regret including that I didn't abandon her, and that she drove me out of my home and my disability made it easier to stay away. I do not think I should have said that, I know that I lost control of myself in this moment. My parents and my partner are telling me that I should only pay my share of the debt and try to cancel the doubled fee, but if I can't cancel it that I shouldn't try to share that debt with her. They believe she needs to see that her actions have consequences, but I feel that sticking her a multi-thousand-dollar bill will financially ruin her. If I only pay for the rent I owed, she'd be left paying $5,000 if they don't drop the doubling of the debt. Please help. Am I the asshole, and what should I do? Stories number 14. I was literally dismissed for being an older woman. I was at a work Christmas thing at the weekend. I was laughing and joking with some colleagues I hadn't met before, some men in I'm guessing their 20s, early 30s at most. This guy tells me to fuck off, you're like nearly 50. I was stunned. I apologized. I left. I have felt so grotesquely unattractive, worthless, humiliated, and angry all week. I'm guessing he had a lovely little laugh and feels nothing at all. I guarantee he would not have said that to a man. But I'm a woman, my usefulness has been spent and now I mustn't be seen or heard of again. Stories number 15. Am I the asshole for confessing I was physically hurt and telling the police about it? Hi all, I'm really struggling and need some advice. At the beginning of October, a guy from work heavily trying to pursue me tried to force himself on me trying to kiss me, and then did something minor that physically hurt me. It was a small thing, but I was hurt, embarrassed, and had a bruise I had to hide from my BF. People had warned me not to be friends with the person, so I felt embarrassed that it happened and that I was even in the situation for it to occur. Eventually I got so scared of him I confessed to my family and boyfriend, who then told me to tell my work. I did, and they fired him without telling him why for my safety. I have a screenshot of him essentially confessing to assaulting me from just after the incident as well. I was so scared, especially since he has guns, not legal or common in my country, that I told the police and got a restraining order. This pissed him off, since he got his guns removed, and also got arrested but let go due to lack of evidence. The restraining order will eventually be dropped by the courts as well since he hasn't come after me since and we had a friendship, so I clearly wasn't scared of him, etc. Now his friend, who I thought was a mutual friend 40M, refuses to speak to me at all at work. Won't reply to anything work related, lied to our bosses that he gave me requested work information when he didn't, and I had to get HR involved in order to get what I needed from him work-wise. I texted him and apologized but he ignored it. I just don't understand these grown adult men who think it's okay to assault someone and intimidate someone so much younger and a female. Did I take it too far to get the legal system involved over a minor incident? Edit, just some details and context. I'm 25F, creepy coworker is 28M and mutual friend is 40M. This happened outside of work hours, so not at work. 28M lost his license for drunk driving, so he asked me for a lift home, and I was trapped in the car with him when this happened. Stupid idea, I know. 40M also has a restraining order against him from an ex-girlfriend. Stories number 16. Am I the asshole for breaking up with my girlfriend because of a caught cheating prank? I, 26M, broke up with my girlfriend, 25F, of 2 years because of something that happened recently, and now my friends are saying I massively overreacted. So, a few days ago, my girlfriend and a close mutual friend decided to play a prank on me. The prank was that they filmed a scenario where I caught them in bed together, pretending they were hooking up. They set up a hidden camera in the bedroom, and when I walked in, I saw him in just boxers and my girlfriend in a bra and panties, straddling him, acting like they were mid-hookup. To make it more realistic, they even made some noises and tried to act like it was happening for real. I was shocked, furious, and immediately confronted them as I thought it was real at first, like an actual betrayal, and then I walked out of the room and started leaving the house, when they followed me screaming it was just a prank and then showed me the video they'd been recording. To be honest, I felt completely betrayed, not just by the idea of the prank, but also because of how they had gotten undressed to film it. I know it's meant to be funny to some people, but for me, it felt disrespectful, and I was hurt. The whole thing felt like a violation of trust, even though I know they weren't actually cheating. I told her I couldn't be in a relationship with someone who would do something like that, and I ended things right there. She's devastated, and our friends have been telling me I overreacted. They think it was just a harmless prank and I should have taken it better. But I can't shake the feeling that it crossed a line for me, especially with how intimate and uncomfortable it felt to see them in that situation, even if it wasn't real. Now I'm left wondering if I made the right decision. I'm starting to doubt myself because everyone else seems to think I blew it out of proportion. Edit, I did not expect this many responses. Thank you, guys. She posted here earlier and sent me a link to her post. I know she wants me to watch the video to prove it was all set up and planned, but I feel she still doesn't get that I am upset about her disregard and disrespect for me and our relationship. Anyways, I am going to sign off for the night. Update. I think my boyfriend is overreacting for breaking up with me over my caught cheating prank. Am I the asshole? My boyfriend posted here a few hours ago and shared the link with me to show me what people thought about what I did and that he is not overreacting. I thought I'd come on here and give my version of events for a more nuanced take. I planned the cheating prank with our close mutual friend several days ago. We were hanging out and scrolling through TikTok videos and came across prank shorts between couples. We went down the rabbit hole and ended up watching YouTube videos of cheating pranks, and I mentioned it would be funny to try a cheating prank on my boyfriend to find out what his reaction would be. He said he would do one with me and I agreed because it was someone my BF liked and trusted, so I thought it would be harmless. It started out as a hypothetical plan, but over the course of the conversation and while hashing out details, it turned into a real plan and we agreed to the day we would do it, when my BF would be out and come back home to find us together. We set up the camera and filmed ourselves talking about the prank and set it up on top of the dresser in the bedroom and got into position. We were laughing throughout and it is all on video. To make it believable, I told him to take off his shirt. He said I should probably do the same, so we did. Then he thought it would be even more believable and provide that shock factor if we also took off our pants. In hindsight, this was a terrible idea, but I agreed to it. You know how the rest of the story went from his post. But what he didn't mention is that he refused to watch the video I recorded showing that it was a planned prank, that we only took off our clothes and got into sex position when we knew he was home. I understand that this prank was extra and hurtful to him, and for that I am sorry. But, I am not cheating on him and I did not mean to disrespect our relationship. I think him breaking up with me is a massive overreaction because other than this incident, which I now massively regret, our relationship was great. We shared 2 wonderful years together and moved in together over the summer. I plan on deleting the video and won't be sharing it on social media, but I will share it with him first for proof of my intentions. Update: my ex-GF was really upset with all the hate she received online and blamed me for painting her in a bad light. I told her I did no such thing, she just didn't like that she got called out on her behavior. The mutual friend who was part of the prank is now also pissed off at me and saying I went way overboard. I told them both to fuck off and have blocked their numbers. Our friends have since started taking this more seriously after reading some of the comments on here, with a few taking my side and saying what my GF and the friend did was horrible. Others still think this was all unnecessary and I should just have laughed it off and moved on. Stories number 17. Help. My best friend is hijacking our wedding planning. Hey guys, my 25M, future wife, 26F, and I are kind of at a loss here. My childhood best friend, 25M, has us landlocked for our wedding planning. We have had a long engagement, and have had our wedding date picked for over a year. My fiancé and I will now be tying the knot in the next 6 months. Problem is, his uni schedule is out, and our wedding is the same day as my buddy's graduation from his master's program. Call me an asshole if you want, but these are both big life events, and I see this as a schedule conflict at most. In my eyes, we have a massive day of celebration, and could congratulate each other and go out for drinks to talk about it later. Well, apparently that is not the case. My best friend told me that my wedding date was the same as his graduation, and asked me to change my date. Then he insisted that I told him it was a Sunday wedding, which I mentioned my fiancé wanted way back when. Then he blamed me for never telling him that I changed my mind, despite my announcement in multiple groups and even in passing conversations one-on-one. He also came with me the day that I signed the venue contract, showing it was bought and paid for our Saturday wedding. Now that you've got some context, here's the problem. He showed up to my apartment 2 weeks ago when I reaffirmed I would not be changing my date for the wedding. He was beyond upset, and was insisting it would ruin our friendship if he didn't come to the wedding. Despite my insistence that this was just not true, he wouldn't listen. My roommate, 24M, told him he was being ridiculous, and my best friend turned on him and started to berate him. My friend ended up leaving in tears, and has since not apologized. I have come to compromise that when he knows the time of his graduation, we'll tweak up the ceremony start time so he can either come by the reception or stand for the ceremony. But now this agreement is starting to sour. He's got this what about me mentality in about everything we do when planning. The caterers we found and can afford will only cater dinner. What if my graduation is at that time? When I told my groomsmen that we're gonna set a date to go get measured for tux rentals, he was the only one who couldn't go, and got mad when I took my other guys anyway. He also left all my groomsmen hanging when they were planning an incredibly kind surprise get-together for me and my fiancée. He intentionally made plans on top of their prep time, so all he did is show up and take credit. My groomsmen aren't very fond of him because of that, and I've found out more recently that they're not too fond of him at all because of his selfish behavior. My dad told me that he's got no right to influence our wedding planning that much, and even though my fiancée has promised me that she'll go with the flow, I'm not upheaving our day for him. My mom doesn't want me to invite him at all anymore. Again, childhood friend and essentially family. I guess I should also mention, I've got two best men, because my fiancée has two sisters and wanted them each for her maids of honor, so I still have a best man already. In my opinion, my fiancé's parents are putting a lot of time and money into this wedding, and unless he wants to fork out a couple grand, he's got no place in our wedding planning. I've never seen him act so selfishly. My fiancée has already given me grief a few times throughout our relationship about him. It's always been a simple I don't really like him, but now this guy has no ability to compromise anymore and I've seen a very sad change in him since he moved off for uni. I don't know, at this point I'm rambling and am just overall upset. I have a hard time confronting him because he's explosive and will go for my neck if I even tell him he's got a stain on his shirt. I don't know what to do or what to say to him. My parents are adamant that he deserves no place in our day anymore, and I agree. I have no wish for him to believe he has any say over my fiancée, simply because she's been patient and kind enough to hold on when planning. I've already shed some tears to her about this. Just need an outside opinion. Thanks. Edit, he does not literally go for my neck. What I mean is that he will put you down or intentionally bring up sore subjects if you point out any type of flaw in him, even in a joking manner. I am not a subject to physical violence, and he would be a well-beaten fool to try it. Thanks for your concern.